Hello and welcome to Babiker the Traveler Podcast. Now, I chose this name for various reasons. Number one, it rhymes pretty well. But number two, I also really like the idea of being a traveler. Not merely, going from one place to another. Everyone says that they like traveling. It's pretty cliche. It's pretty obvious. But it's more living your life as a traveler. The Prophet ﷺ said, live life as a traveler, take only what you need along the way. And so this is really what I want to capture, what the spirit, if you will, that I want to capture. Want to see how other people travel in their lives. People from different backgrounds, people from all around the world. So I'm really looking forward to getting some very cool people. Some people that you might know, some people that you might not know, some people that I've met previously, some people that I haven't. And yeah, so I will hope that you will join me in this travel and enjoy. All right, welcome my friend, my brother, my past classmate and current business analyst, Toastmaster, Firas Abdo. Marhaba fi.
Hello, Babiker. Thank you for having me.
It is an honor to have you as our very first guest on this podcast. First to introduce, let me first introduce myself, because this is the first podcast. This is the first episode, and for anyone listening, they want to get to know what this is all about. So my name is Mohammed Babiker. I am a recent graduate from Prince Sultan University. I'm someone who's in the tech community and in a lot of other communities. I have a lot of friends who are in consulting and the like, and I would like to explore many things in that field, and especially talk a bit more with the people in those fields, the people who have worked and all of their different experiences, so that other graduates and other people in this world can get to know each other better and to get to know the space, who is occupying which parts, where people fit in different areas, and just get to know each other better. All right. So with that, that is why I chose my very special friend Firas as our first guest on this podcast. And as an introduction to him, he was a first. He won the Ideal Student Award in both high school and university. He studied industrial engineering and graduated with a first honors degree. He was a very active Toastmaster, was the president for a year, won multiple awards, including the Riyadh's University Debate Contest twice in a row. He worked as an operations engineer for 7 months and a business analyst in different companies for around close to 2 years. And he is currently working as a quantitative analyst. And so we will go over his journey as a student and also as a professional, and all of his interesting choices he has made, and learn more about it, hopefully. All right, Firas, how are you feeling?
Hey, Babiker. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. And you, as my friend and brother, I would like to introduce you as well. Babiker has been a great friend for me for since I joined university. Maybe I met him the second year in Toastmasters, where we founded Toastmasters together. He was always someone who would push for a lot of extracurriculars, MUN, Toastmasters, the debates contest that he mentioned. We went together, we fought together. It was amazing. Going back to the question. So yeah, I would like to start with the background of where I started at the beginning.
Yeah.
So you as a friend, I believe you know that already. I was born a refugee. I'm still a refugee, technically speaking. And yeah, and my parents were born in refugee camps. And why I emphasize this point is because it has a lot of consequences on the decisions I made over my lifetime. Starting from university up to career.
Fair.
So how does that play? As a young professional, you should always think 2-3 steps ahead when you start your own career. So as a refugee, the first thing you think about is, how can I stabilize my life? How can I find a place where I can settle down, basically? And that guided all my choices, career and university-wise. And this will be clear once we go through the podcast, through the questions that you sent me.
All right.
Yeah. So
interesting. All right. So, yeah, that's a very humble beginning, and very important, as you mentioned, to keep in mind as we move forward. So let's just first begin, I guess, from university itself. So, what were your priorities in university as a student looking back? What are your achievements that you're proud of? Yeah, you can tell us more about that.
Sure, yeah. So, I am coming from a middle class, so going to PSU was not on my to-do list. It was so expensive to go to. But then I got a scholarship, a 60% scholarship to go there.
Yeah.
But my cumulative score was 91.9. And the full scholarship requires 92. So I was 0.1 away from 100% scholarship. And what that happened is that my father had to go and ask for financial support and take debt. And that was I felt bad on that day. I spent hours playing video games. I thought to myself, if I had spent that time and earned 2 more grades and got the full scholarship, I would have saved my father from all those financial burdens that I have brought upon him. And from that point, I forced myself to study a lot in the university, with the hope that they would give me a full scholarship. And then I got the high GPA, I applied, they rejected the request. Oof. So I still had to go with 60% scholarship. Yeah, exactly. Good. But that kept the motivation, That kept the motivation. So that's the motivation. So by the time I graduated, my father was already 20,000 riyals in debt. So I had to make very strong choices and start working
very strong
to cover that debt quickly.
Yeah. Damn. For me, even for me, this is the first time hearing this. It's quite interesting. I think for me, I had a similar case where I started out. I maybe the opposite of you, actually, in one way, because my cumulative GPA was 88.1%, so it was just 0.1% of going below the lowest the lowest minha scholarship. So yeah, I got the 50% scholarship barely, but yeah, it's also refreshing to hear that you really cared, about your father's financial situation, and were aware of the burden that you were putting on him. Because if I'm being very honest, I at that age I did not really I'm just مبسوط انه عارف I took it for granted لحد ما انه ابوي يدفع لي حق الجامعه.
Yeah,
of course ابوي
yeah.
So it's refreshing to hear that someone that from such a young age is aware of the burden he's posing. I'd like to believe that as I grow older I'm a bit more aware, but you never know. But yeah, nice stuff, bro. Awesome. So and so that's on the educational side, and alhamdulillah, you graduated with a very high GPA, very high tajmiya. Would you say that you think that studying hard was worth it and was good for you, especially as someone who's entered the career space and been there for a while?
Sure, yeah. Obviously, no regrets. That's one.
So,
2, I would honestly say all the jobs I got, all the offers I got were because of my high scores or the knowledge I got as I worked hard.
exactly.
So it's the same thing.
Okay.
So as we are discussing consulting, like getting into consulting with a low GPA is very difficult.
Very difficult.
Very difficult.
As I can attest.
Yeah, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to have a lot of things that cover that low GPA. A lot of extracurriculars, job experience, etc., to cover all.
Sahih.
So yes, the GPA is very useful, and it gives you a lot of advantage, either with your professors or with your prospect employers.
Yes. I think it's important to hear from you, because these days we hear a lot of people saying, it's not worth it to take a degree, everything's online, but yeah, it makes a difference, especially in these kinds of sectors, and just to teach you, I think, the basics of hard work, the basics of focusing, accumulating knowledge in your head is good for you.
Yeah.
These
and we will come to that when it comes to consulting.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna do. I will explain that one.
All right, when we get to that. Awesome. So when you first graduated, like how was your first job like how was it, to talk about like your job hunting, the job that you got, why did you pick it, so on and so forth.
Sure. Like in our university, there is a lot of professors who don't like consulting, and they kept saying us, don't go to consulting. And I was in favor of that. So for the first 4 months...
غسلوا دماغك, ها? بدري.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically for the first 3 or 4 months, I ignored every consulting company that came to the university to recruit. I didn't go to any interviews, tests, etc., you name it. And I was trying to find a job in the industry, be it manufacturing or otherwise. And obviously, the Middle East, not too many opportunities. So it became hard. First month, nothing. Second month,
nothing. I think especially for a graduate, and it's a bit hard to get your foot out there without knowing someone or having a kind of connection, or without the experience.
Yeah, the market is not really immature. They don't capitalize on the potential of fresh graduates.
Fresh graduates, yes. They really treat
they are
them
cheaper. They can do the same job.
Yeah, they don't take them. They don't take them very seriously. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like some jobs, you only need practice for 1 week and you can do them, and they just don't capitalize on that and save costs.
Yeah, that's how it is. All right.
So yeah, I got an offer in sales, but you know me, I am an introvert guy. I'm not for sales. Doesn't work for me. So I kept 3-4 months hunting and nothing came along. Then I had the only choice, consulting. That was the only thing that was actively recruiting over and over and over. Every time you see them, LinkedIn, PSU, anywhere else, only consulting is recruiting.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. I need the money now. My father's 20,000 riyals in debt. I need to move my ass in plain terms.
Okay.
So, yeah, I started in hunting consulting jobs, got 2 interviews, and then landed one of them.
Nice.
Do you want me to get into that?
Yeah. All right. So, how was your first experience? Just tell us about it, and the whole process of getting in, how difficult it was getting in, experience working there, and why you decided to move on after the first. Yeah.
Sure. So the consulting company that gave me the offer was a boutique firm that just started out as a consulting arm for a venture builder. So what is a venture builder? It's not a new model. It's new to the Middle East, but it has been there since the 1980s, probably in the US. So what is a venture builder? It's basically an expansion or an extension to the venture capital. So what the venture capital does is that they wait for you till you start making some sales, and then they will start investing in you if they see the potential.
Okay.
A venture builder, would start from you from day one. They will build the company with you.
A lot more
as a return.
Involved, a lot more with the team, even in the recruitment of other members. Yeah, very involved in the
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They will handle all the back office, accounting, finance, legal, HR, etc. But in return, they will take a bigger share of the company.
Yeah, they take
but they are
the
involved.
payment, you can say, the price for those kind of services is that they take usually a much bigger share of the company than a normal venture capital. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They will take a larger portion of your equity. And there are variations for it. Some venture builders don't bring external entrepreneurs. They will have their own entrepreneurs inside the company who just, when they find an idea, just go and launch it internally. They don't accept external ideas. So I started with those. It was an internal consulting arm for that venture builder. And it started out with the pandemic. I started 2 weeks later, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, I'm getting fired in 1 week. Just to start it out, the pandemic hit. Everyone is freaking out and they want to save costs. I was like, yeah, the first guy who got hired, the first guy to get fired.
Okay, how did that?
But then, how did that turn out? They said, okay, we might have an opportunity here. We are a small team and we may crack something. So what they did is they started a report as a marketing tool that basically every week tells you the impact of the pandemic on the Saudi economy and how are the dynamics of the economy are shifting as the pandemic moves and progresses. So that was cool. I worked with that with the CEO, with the consulting director, and we managed to get some heavy traction. Even some large companies and some government officials started contacting us for work. So that was cool. I learned how to زي ما بنقول بالعربي يعني من أين تؤكل الكتف. So
you really capitalized on the opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, they capitalized on the opportunity. They used the report as a marketing tool, which was very cool.
Very smart, yeah.
Yeah, and I also worked with the CEO on analyzing the venture builders market, like how is it around the world, what are they specialized in, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of cool stuff in the company. But then, I still needed money, and boutique firms don't pay as big firms.
As big firms, yeah.
Yeah. So I applied to one of the big firms, and over a long time, because of the pandemic, the process took very long time between the interviews. But at the end of the day, like when the pandemic sort of cooled down, I got the offer from one of those big firms, and I moved on.
All right. So you can say that the next one is much bigger, one of the largest firms in the region.
Yes, not just the region, but globally. It's one of the what they call the MBB, the big three of strategy. So I went there. You have high expectations, you have all that excitement, and you go in, and as you expect, you see a lot of the work, the sleepless working hours, very demanding job, and what you see is a lot of work, a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you work with big clients. So all those things you read on the internet is true. But you progress with this. They give you the career path. They give you the packages. They give you everything. And then you move on. Yeah.
So just to clarify, what do you mean by when you say all the things you read on the internet are true?
Oh, yeah. You read a lot about the big consulting firms, like the career paths they have, the training opportunities you get, the types of clients you work with, the kinds of project you expect. All these sorts of information on the internet are nice, but as you progress in your career, you start to feel that they are good, but sometimes overrated. That's the best word to describe it.
All right. Interesting. So, what would you in this second experience, like since you've tried out two very different environments as a business analyst in these two consultancies, like what would you say is like comparing them two together, like like the small company, small boutique firm as you mentioned versus the big firm? What kind of tasks do you get? What kind of experience do you have? Like what kind of person would fit where? Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I see. Cool. You in a small consulting firm, you would get what you get from a startup. You do a lot and varied things. Like you will be working in marketing, you will be working in finance, you will be working in, and not just projects related to finance. No, you will be working on the finance of the company itself. You'll be doing a lot of things, and you will be taking much bigger responsibilities than you would in a big firm. Like in a big firm, you will, as a first year person, you barely get a portion of the report that you're gonna give to the client. In a boutique, I used to get like a whole report on my own. Like, Firas, here, take this report, work on it, because they don't have the resources. Like the whole company was like 5 people, compared to those large firms with 600 people. Like,
of course,
it's completely different. So yeah, that's the typical difference. Other differences is the strong systems in the big firms, like very strict systems for promotions, for training, for staffing, types of projects, etc. So everything is like
it's a very you can say a very linear, like a progression. You spend 2 years here, then if you pass, you spend 1 year here, and then if you pass, you spend 3 years there. Which is very
exactly.
Which is I would assume very different from a startup as kind of environment where things are very flexible. If you prove yourself, you can advance much faster than the average starting employee.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. You like when you join a big firm, there is the roadmap. It's clear. Step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
in a startup, you just go where the business is. In a startup, you just follow the business.
If they close shop tomorrow, خلاص مع السلامة, goodbye.
Exactly. You just follow the clients.
Yeah.
They tell you to dance, you dance. They tell you to do economics, you do economics. You just do the work.
That's all right. And while you were in the second opportunity in this large firm that is very competitive to get into, you have hundreds of people applying to like every season and dreaming of working in from not just in Saudi, like people from outside of the region are applying to get into it. So you made the choice to actually leave that position. So I would like to ask, like, why did you make that choice? How did that come to account? And just tell us about all that.
Sure. So yeah, as you said, it was a dream to join that company. I wouldn't deny. I was super excited to join, and I still believe it's an amazing opportunity to get into. If you get the chance, please. If anybody is watching this, if you get the chance, please take it. It's a very good opportunity. Now, coming to the question, which is why I left, is because I got a better opportunity. It's a luxury, I believe. It's a luxury in life to get a career that is 100% aligned with your future dreams. And that's what I got. Yes, it might not be as prestigious and all that stuff, But hey, I'm a middle class guy. I don't care that much about prestige. I lived my whole life as a simple guy, and you move on. Like doing something that you are interested in and you love is more. It's a luxury. First of all, not all people get to do it. I still believe it's a luxury. And the offer I got was good. Was pretty good.
So you can say that.
So that's the main reason.
The main reason was that because you got a new offer that was more aligned with your interests, you could say. So during this period, were you like actively looking for opportunities, or would this just come like sort of out of nowhere, or how did this new offer come about?
Yeah, so this new offer, I didn't seek it out. It came along. So I was going to stay despite some drawbacks of staying. Like I can tell you, like I can explain consulting. Like if you ask me what is consulting in one sentence, I would tell you it's an extension of academia. That's the best way to describe consulting.
Wow, I haven't
How is
heard
that
one before. Okay, explain, please.
Yeah, so let me give you what I mean by an extension of academia. So in academia, how do you solve a problem? You have this law or principle that Newton or whoever put it in, and that law is based on a lot of simplifying assumptions. In consulting, that's what you do to solve problems. You put a lot of simplifying assumptions that because you don't know the client, you don't know the industry, so you put a lot of simplifying assumptions and then you propose a solution. So for me, when I was working, I was like putting all those recommendations, all those data, all those analyses, but then you start to think, okay, how will this impact the client? How will the employees handle all of this? How will this transcend over the structure of the company?
How will it be executed in actual real life?
Exactly. So you just flash back to academia when you were studying all those books and thinking, how is this applied in the industry?
You went from one.
You get the point.
From one like sort of solving imaginary problems, like not really executing the solutions, to like a new form of that. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen it described as you have so eloquently put it, but it does indeed, like that does make sense. That kind of is how it is.
Yeah. So why I use the word extension? So the extension is because you need a slightly different skills to excel in the consulting industry compared to academia. So that slightly different is the communications. So in academia you don't necessarily have to communicate your ideas in a simple and concise manner as you do in consulting. So that's the only difference between academia and consulting. But the rest of the work, you just open the books, you read the reports, you summarize them, you put them into another reports, you analyze the data, etc., and you put it into a report. So basically you are doing a final course project or a homework. And that's why I said they like people with high GPAs, because you're going to do a lot of reading. Once you're doing consulting, it's a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of doing homework. So yeah, in summary, consulting is an extension of academia. That's the best way to describe it, in my opinion.
And I guess you weren't too fond, despite your success in academia, you weren't too fond of continuing that in that extension of it.
Yeah, you need to get on the ground. I mean, come on, we need to see the real world. And now, as a quant, like, a day could go, 2 days could go just trying, because one data point is missing. And they never consider that in consulting. They consider data as given.
It's not more real. It's a lot more like these are the kind of real problems that you face when you're actually solving problems, like not suggesting potential solutions to fat companies
exactly
who may or may not implement your strategies. Interesting.
Exactly.
All right. So
like in the real world, like 2 days would go finding data, and then 2 days would go discussing how the code should go, and then you have been in as a software engineer. I
know it very, very, very well. As a data analyst, the biggest headache is in all of the stages before the actual analysis of the data. Like it's in actually getting the data and cleaning the data and formatting it for analysis. And oh wait, no, this data has this missing. Oh no, this database is actually outdated. No, all of these things.
Exactly.
All of these pains.
All of those you would never hear of in consulting. It's like, use SQL. That's it. That's the recommendation.
Interesting. Okay, so we kind of jumped to the second question already, but to go more deeper into it. So I believe your new opportunity is a slightly different kind. It's not in a consulting company. You are a quantitative analyst. So if you could describe what a quantitative analyst is and what kind of job you have, go into detail on your current what you currently do.
Sure. So a quantitative analyst is a bit of data scientist, you can say, that is specialized in the finance market, so financial industries. So what we do is basically we build financial models in programming languages so that we can operate them on large number of data.
Okay.
So examples of what we build is pricing models. So we price loans, we price any financial products, swaps, bonds, etc. And we build, for example, credit risk models. We build economic models to predict anything. So that's kind of the big picture of what a quant would do. And they would also build, like in a more senior positions of a quant, you would go into like recommending financial products, like what would be more suitable, a swap or covered bond or wherever of those financial products.
Interesting. So you like this is, I would assume this would be more in like banks and these kind more traditional industries that would you are looking for these kind of financial analysts, like maybe trading websites or things like that.
Exactly, like any financial institution, even new fintechs, like you can work in insurance, investment, banking, fintech, peer-to-peer lending, like Lindo, for example. They all use lending, and basically where there is a cash flow, you can work. And even if you got bored of the financial industry, the skills you got, you can shift to any data scientist position. It's the same toolkit.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I think it's a very very specialized position for a data scientist or data analyst to seek. All right, so I think we went across your very interesting journey, career and school. So just to look at like looking at it now, of course your journey is only continuing. It's not like it's ended now. It's only in many ways it's only just starting now. But looking back, like what recommendations would you give to Firas who's just starting out in university?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Honestly, I wouldn't regret the decisions I made. Yes, some people think, like when I left that big firm, some people thought I was fired because I only stayed for like 7 months. I got WhatsApp messages and on LinkedIn and people asking me, "Wait, where were you? You're fired." Exactly. I was like, no, I wasn't fired. I chose to leave.
Doesn't compute.
But yeah, we are young. We are not married. I mean, take the opportunity and explore. So why to stick in one company early on? Or as you said, like being a wanderer is nice. Like wander around.
Alright.
So yeah. That would be, but always when you wander around, make sure that you are not leaving because you're finding something difficult. Like when I joined the big firm, there were some difficulties, I wouldn't deny. Like those long hours, like sometimes you sleep for 5 hours, sometimes you get some cool days, but never leave because of these reasons. Right? There is something great that lies ahead, but if you leave for a different opportunity, for a different experience.
Make sure,
don't quit your job before. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, always just make sure that you're not essentially that you're not throwing yourself, out in the sea, that you have a plan B, or you have something to fall back on so that you can explore a new opportunity or something completely different. Just plan, calculate your chances and what matters, what you value, seek it, go wander in that direction. And as you mentioned, I think that's a very good rule to never quit just because it's hard.
Yeah, I would agree. First rule, don't quit before you find another job. Don't quit and sit at home. Especially in the Middle East, the opportunities are scarce, so don't quit before you find another job. That's rule number 1.
Yeah.
Rule number 2, always keep the door open. So once you leave a company, make sure to leave a good impression before you go. Always leave a good impression, because you never know, you might have to come back one day.
Sahih.
So that's the rule I followed. Whenever I leave a good impression.
I would say leave
till the last day.
Yeah, I would make a small tweak to that. And make don't burn any bridges, of course. But also you shouldn't be doing that because who knows, maybe you will have to go back to them one day. There's a lot of companies out there. You'll probably find a spot somewhere. So if you found a job already, you can find one somewhere else, inshallah. But regardless of that, anyone, the people that you're working with, they are people at the end of the day. Just because your interests might not align on one day, you still have to respect them, still treat them well, that basic level of respect and good treatment. You should really expect that from everyone all the time, including your employers, past, present, and future. Your career choices shouldn't affect that. I know of some experiences of some people who, when they leave a company, that's for some reason an excuse to just forget all manners and go berserk with them. It's no, bro. Even if you maybe had some drama in the past, that doesn't mean now is you have an excuse to just let loose and go crazy. Always keep your respect, keep your manners. Treat people as you would like to be treated. And
Totally agree. Totally agree.
All right. So for people who are currently just graduated, especially in these COVID times where searching for jobs is very tricky, what general tips would you have? Let's start with just basic tips. What tips would you give them for those currently looking for a job, recent graduates?
Well, maybe it's too late, but work hard on your GPA if you are still early in your career, still early in university life. Make sure to get a high GPA. It will open a lot of doors for you, and you know that. I'm sure you are seeing a lot of graduate programs that banks are launching, investments, companies, large corporates. You have all those graduate programs, and always you're going to see that the first condition is have a high GPA, always. And you can just do the Google search, whoever you are. So tip number 1, always get the maximum GPA you can get. Tip number 2, work on the soft skills. You're going to need them. It's go to those clubs in the university. Don't just stay in the books or with your friends. You see 2 types of people, or 3. The third type is the minority. But the first type is the pure academic guys who just library, class, library. And then you have the other type that doesn't care about anything. So class, friends, coffees, football, etc. And then you have the small minority that goes to the clubs. those clubs are important. You might think of them as a waste of time, but they build your communication skills.
Yes.
They teach you how to work with teams, how to talk with people.
How to build
Like,
networks,
for me.
how to
Yes.
do public speaking, how to how to organize stuff, build stuff like from scratch. It's really I think it was quite a strong experience for both of us to be involved in these clubs quite early in our university experiences, and it really helped us in our careers.
Exactly, and they help in life as well. So for me, I was an academia guy, so class, library, and then I shift. And the reason for the shift is that I got rejected from a girl. So now on that day, I lost all the confidence. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to the clubs and build some confidence, You want to build those confidence, boy. So once you build that confidence in a club, you can use it in a job interview, you can use it in a job, and you can use it in the real life. So it's always good to go to those clubs. And believe me, big consulting firms will look for those extracurriculars. They value them because they consider them as a mark or an indicator for proactiveness. You are a proactive person that is willing to do something that he is not asked to do. So those extracurriculars are nice. So 1 GPA, 2 extracurriculars. 3, if you can get internships during summer, go for it. Like, those would be a good plus in your CV.
Yeah, I didn't even know those were an option during the summer.
But me too.
It's only after I graduated that I saw, oh wait, people can do this in the summer. You don't have to wait until you graduate to start doing this. People, there is such a thing as summer internships. Look those up, and if you can try to get into them. Also, if you are already in these kind of clubs and activities, it's a lot easier to find these kind of opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah. And
that's probably a tip from me. It's just join everything you can. Just get into everything.
Exactly.
Don't limit.
Wander around. Don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
take the opportunities of the university. You are paying a lot of money. Make sure to capitalize on the money you are spending.
Yeah. Even if you're in a public university and you're not paying anything, look around. Look what are the clubs, what are the trips that they have. Every university has something. So look around, search, and join every contest, every club, every project, every trip. Apply to them all. Some hopefully will eventually accept you. If you're not accepted, look at why they're not accepting you and work on those skills. Whether they be your English language or GPA, whatever it is. And improve yourself so that you have a better job. You have a better chance going forward.
True. Yeah.
All right. So those was for general tips, and for those let's say who are looking to get into one of the consulting firms, see that as their dream, their be all and end all. What words do you have for them, if any?
Sure. Yes, consulting is a cool experience, but don't stay too long. 2-3 years is the maximum for me. If I had stayed, I think 2-3 years, and then I would have dropped. I wouldn't have stayed longer than that. But to get in, yes, there are plenty of things you can do. Number 1, and the most important one, is the structure. Be structured as much as you can. So what do I mean by structure? When you speak in points. So instead of saying, I want to analyze how the company is performing across revenue, costs, and product A and product B, no. You say it in a structured manner. So I want to analyze 3 things. 1, costs. 2, revenues. And 3, products. I did that in the interview, and I saw the interviewer just ticking the box. I saw him ticking the box. You just say 1, 2, 3. He will tick the box. structured communications is number one, and it's difficult. It's difficult to make it a habit. Like it seems in
easy,
in plain terms as easy, but once you are under the stress and the pressure of an interview, using that structure format, where you organize the ideas in your thoughts, in your head, then that's not an easy. So practice that, and then the only way to practice that is to go to those clubs where you do public speaking, because when you do public speaking, you have to speak in points. Yeah, I think you remember that, Mohammed Babiker.
Yeah, for sure. You have to structure your speech, introduction, body, conclusion, and yeah, that kind of that basic structure. You can really go ahead and apply it when it comes to solving problems in case studies and in interviews and on the actual job. So it's very important and integral skill to learn. And the sooner you learn it and master it, the better.
Exactly. So that's the part of the extension of academia. You need to communicate your results in consulting. So structure is the first point. Second point, there are plenty of books and videos that you can find on YouTube that train you on the case interview, and you need training on that. So don't assume you don't need training. Some books I can think of, what was it? The Secrets of Case Interview, or something like that. It's close to that book, Secrets of Case Interview. And there is the case interview workbook that has like 60 cases that you can practice on. There is also the YouTube videos. The YouTube videos are amazing. You don't have to watch them. What you have to do is play the video, listen to the question, and then pause and write your answer. Don't run the video till the end. Like pause the solve it yourself and then see the answer from the video, and do that for every question. So these are the ways you can practice for the case interview. And if you have a friend applying, practice with him. That would be amazing. I did that with my friends as well.
Yeah, definitely very, very helpful to have someone to practice, to play the interviewer in the case interviews. Very important.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very good. Very solid advice. All right. We are reaching the end, but I still have a handful of some small, maybe surprise questions for you. So first question is, why are there why is there a picture of like African children raising their hands to the sky on the top of your LinkedIn?
Oh, that's a difficult question. But okay, let's see.
You didn't expect that one, huh?
No, I didn't expect that.
Yes, that's.
I think so. Honestly, the first intention I put that on is the media does not give enough credit for non-white Westerners. Basically, any non-white people are not presented enough in the media, and what that does basically is we start to perceive the white Western spectrum of people as the only beautiful people, and that's not true. We need to get used to see other people. Just because they don't show us them, we need to see them ourselves. And that's one thing. Second thing is that those kids, I felt that they represent hope. Like, you can see how simple they are, yet all of them are laughing.
Yeah, they're all
me being a refugee is something I wanted to have hope. So yeah, it's hope, and it's diversifying the kind of people I see every day.
Yeah, alright. I wasn't actually expecting you to have a good answer. You have surprised me.
I wrote a tweet about this.
Okay. I might have not caught that. Good stuff.
No, it's too old.
Okay. All right, great stuff, Fawad. So before we close the door, are there any places people can follow you? Your like I mentioned, your LinkedIn. Like just quickly, like your LinkedIn. Like, are there any other places people can find you would like them to follow you?
Yeah, sure. I'm available LinkedIn, Twitter, these two platforms. I'm totally available. I have already helped a lot of people join the firm that I joined, or the program that goes before it. And yeah, I'm always happy to help. Just reach out and I will give you more tips and any other questions that you might have about the consulting industry.
And all right, I will put the links of those somewhere on my so LinkedIn and Twitter. All right, excellent. And I think that's the last question I have. Is there anything else you would like to add to this lovely episode before we?
Yeah, let me give you a surprise question as you gave me. No, it's a cool question. What do you think of consulting yourself?
What do I think of consulting? I think it's a very cool career in its own right. I think it's a very interesting challenge. If you're not too sure of what kind of career you have, it's a pretty decent place to start. Very good place to get a lot of connections, a lot of exposure to lots of different industries. I think it's a really good place to start your career just after you graduate. But I would agree with you that it's probably like not the healthiest place to stay. If you value your time and your free time, your sanity, your health, it's very stressful. As you mentioned, it's very intense. It's very demanding. Someone who really values their free time and and all of these other things, I think that it's definitely not something that I would do for, as you mentioned, like more than maybe 1 or 2 years at most. And the thing that you mentioned about it being sort of the extinction of university, like I also get that feeling, like I've spoken to many consultants, this feeling that you're not really at the execution level, you're just really at the strategy / giving nice requirements level, and you have no idea, okay, so are these requirements going to be implemented? How are they going to be implemented? Like maybe they're good, but they weren't implemented well. Like you're not really there to see it. And you're not held accountable for doing things wrong or right. So it's kind of like just this very fuzzy. I don't know how these things work or not. As you mentioned, like they're the opposite of, let's say, working in a startup where, or like not necessarily just a smaller company, but like any other position where you really feel the effect of what you're doing. Like if you're doing a bad job, try to find a job where you can get feedback that you are doing a bad job. It's very, very unhealthy to be in places where if you do a bad job, you don't really have much feedback. You could have 50 people working on a list of requirements or let's say recommendations, and they all like those recommendations are either bad or are not executed well, and no one really knows. And there's no really systems in place to check and be held accountable for their success or their failure. I think that's just not healthy for you as a person, and not good for your skill sets and stuff. Like you always want to be feeling the influence. Like probably the most thing I enjoy about working in startups is this feeling that you're just sitting with just giving a customer like my app and being like, how is it? And them calling it trash, and this is why it's trash. It's like you getting that feedback directly to your face. There's something good about that to you. If you don't get that, you're too far removed from progress, from the ability to progress as a person in your skills, in your work. Yeah. And it feels
agreed.
And it feels really good when they say it's not trash too. So that's there as well.
Yeah, true. Yes, agreed, 100%. Especially on the comment that you said. it's bad for you when you don't get that feedback on the outcomes of what you have done. Yeah. Exactly. That's a good statement. I would agree with 100%. Yeah.
All right. I feel very bad for any consultants watching this. We just trashed them.
Yeah, we trashed them a lot. So to their credit, they develop a lot of good. Like my professor used to call them paper tigers. Like you develop a good skill in quickly reading reports and summarizing them.
Yeah. All right. Let's hope they don't.
So it's a good job to start with, as you said. It's a good job to start with.
Yeah.
But not for too long.
Yeah. Not for too long. All right. With that said, it has been an honor. It's been a lot of joy for me to speak with you, Firas, on this evening. We hope everyone listening.
Shared feelings, my dear.
Yeah, thank you. And please subscribe to this podcast whenever I end up posting it. And I look forward to sitting with you again in your the next opportunity, seeing your updates, and to more lovely and interesting episodes like this one. It's been a joy to have you with us. Thank you again for coming today, and see you again soon, my friend.
Thank you so much, and looking forward to see it online and for the other episodes with other people. Yeah. And looking forward to have an episode with you one day.
Inshallah. Yeah, all right.
I will do the interview on that day.
No, you start your own podcast and then we'll see. All right, my friend. See you then.
All right.
Okay.
See you.
All right.
Thank you.